One second. Grab that book. For all the spiritual people out there, and for all those that actually have understanding of and knowledge of the Bible and the teachings of Christ and all these things, you're gonna get a kick out of it. And for people, oh my God, do we have Alicia? Oh no! Hi.
Hi.
Hey, you look just like your avatar. That's so dope, you hottie, you.
It's because I'm wearing my wig.
Is it? That looks... Listen, you look just like your avatar. Did you just hop out of a comic book like a super sexy villain or superhero?
All three of my cosplays are villains.
Oh my God, you villain.
Poison Ivy,
Hi, Alicia.
Catwoman, and Harley Quinn.
You really like that movie. What is that movie called? One you were telling me about last time with fucking... Yes, you really liked it, didn't you?
No, it was completely off of the... It was completely off.
Oh yeah. Tell me why it was off, yo, because you're like the comic book encyclopedia, man, I swear.
Because the Joker is actually an abusive, aggressive, manipulative asshole and basically treats Harley Quinn like shit. And that's where the spinoff comes, where she has her own comics and stuff like that. But they showed him, like, asking her if she was ready to dive in, and, like with the vat of acid that she, like, falls into, and she falls in willingly. Well, no, in the comic book, he actually shoves her into the vat.
Holy shit. Are they gonna have sequels of the movie?
Yeah. Go on. They're already talking about it.
That's cool, man. Have you seen any good... Yo, honestly, to me lately, like, they've been slacking with movies, man. I think, like, cinematography, real true cinematography, just like all other art these days, is like slowly dying, man. Do you agree? Like, have you seen anything good, like, where you were like, wow, that it, you know what I'm saying, that overtook you, like, this is a good movie? Have you seen anything like that lately?
Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man wasn't bad.
Really? I haven't seen it.
They tied it in really well with Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So was it just like really good graphics, or was it like the storyline was actually good? Because I think that's what's been missing lately, is the freaking storyline, man.
The storyline was really good. They did a lot of backstory about him, and they, like, actually had him, like, get into the whole semantics of, like, why he wanted to be an Avenger and what he did to try and become an Avenger and how hard he worked. And they actually had morals in the whole idea thing, but I don't want to give too much away because it'll just kind of blow the whole movie out.
Who's playing Spider-Man this time?
Oh gosh. Hold on. That's a good question. I actually don't know who the kid was, but I'll tell you, he was pretty cute.
Why, it's like it's some new guy? It's not the one that played the old one?
Nope.
So how you been, Alicia?
I've been pretty good. How about you?
How did the I'm good, thank you. How did the show go? The modeling, what do you call it? The runway show, man. I don't even know what to call it. How did that go?
It was a fashion show, basically.
Fashion show. How did that go?
Yeah, it went really good. Oh my gosh, it was like crazy. It was a little... They weren't coordinated exactly on time, so there was a lot of breaks and stuff like that. So they were putting a lot of, like, different things in there and stuff. That's why, like, the video feed's not like a straight across. Instead, you know, I had to break it up into pieces because it was like excerpts things in between each one of the sets because they were trying to get the kids ready for each different walk.
Did the girls have fun?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Listen, the idea that I got is basically that because the girl in the beginning, I guess it was her clothes that she was presenting or whatever, but the presenter of the fashion show was talking about how important it is for a child to express themselves
Yeah.
through fashion and things like that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, in the beginning of the show, they had a discussion about how kids should really learn to express themselves through dance, art, music, um, even just doing the fashion shows and walking them and practicing for them gives children confidence and builds their strength. Like, for example, Anastasia has always had stage fright. She's always had it since she was little. Like, she would get up on stage and she would be instantaneous crying. For her, this was a big step. So, like, her smiling and being all, like, proud and, like, walking down there, like, that's been a huge, like, building stone for her because she actually, as soon as she finished doing that and everything, started, like, she started taking my handkerchiefs and, like, tying them around her neck and was like, oh, yeah. Like, she's like, it's kind of like broke her out of her shell and really given her a lot more pep and confidence and stuff like that. Like, oh, I'm not average anymore. Like, I'm something. Like,
How did she overcome her fear, and what would be like? Did you have a hand in that? And if yes, what would be your advice to all the kids and all the people out there? How do you overcome fear like that? Like shit, like I'm scared of mice, like and but talk about stage fright in particular. Like how did Anastasia overcome her fear?
it's taken years. She's always been afraid, and it was always positive reinforcement. It was always everything's going to be fine, everything's going to work out, lots of hugs. And you don't you don't force them into something that they don't want to do. If they're really uncomfortable about it, you try and ease them into it. It's not like, oh, you got to stay on the stage, like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of positive reinforcement and stuff like that. But me and you always talked about this. I believe it takes a village to raise a child. So I don't
Mm.
think that it was all something that I did. I think it was something that everybody who's come into her life, um, especially her teacher last year, Julian Moore. She did a wonderful job of like helping Anastasia. I mean, her kindergarten teacher worked with her. Her preschool teachers worked with her. Like everybody, like Mrs. Roach, which was the vice principal, like not last year but the year before that. She worked with my girls when they were, having confidence issues and they were feeling low. Like all these people came into play to the strengths and confidence of these girls to make sure that they felt secure in their own skin and really working with that, you know? And it's so funny because the school down here is like a complete anti-bullying, no nothing. And all four of my girls have experienced it in one way or another, even though there's not supposed to be any of that. And so I've had to work with them in coping mechanisms to make themselves understand, well, this is still going to happen and not everybody's going to be able to fix it, but there's other ways to deal with it and not get yourself worked up and upset about it and let people bother you.
What do they actually do? Like as far as school, what are so do they have certain programs or certain like slogans throughout the school, or how are they? Because you said it's like anti-bully, but what are they actually doing to stop the bullying?
Well, they have, like you said, slogans, and then they'll have like a meeting, like a anti-bullying, like oh my gosh, what do you call it? Like one of those, the where you sit down and they have a thing and they talk about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so it was just like, and they would tell all the kids that it's in the school policy, and we don't do things like that. Like I don't know how they're going to deal with it this year because the principal that was there for all the years the girls were there, she is no longer she's no longer principal. She's like gone. So they just got a brand new principal that they just hired on. So things are going to be a little bit different in the school than it's been.
I want to ask you a question, but back to the fashion show. Did Anastasia in any way like get cold feet right before going out? Like how was the whole experience?
The only thing that I could say is I don't really think she got cold feet, but out of all of the fashion designers, because there was multiples, there was I think a total of 5 of them. She only walked for 3 as compared to her sisters who walked for all 5. So maybe in turn that was a more effective for her because she didn't walk every fashion designer. So she had that little bit of a break where she could confidence and feel a little bit more pepped. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You said it's very important for like kids to express themselves. Obviously, I mean, I agree with that. But do you draw a line somewhere? Like let's say Gwen comes tomorrow and she's like, "Mommy, I want to wear this underwear on my head and go to school." Like, do you draw a line somewhere, or are you like, "All right, baby girl, like do that as long as it makes you happy"?
Well, if she said that to me about school, I'd be like, unfortunately, I'm very interested in your expressionism and why you would want to do that, and I'd love to know a reason why. But as school policy, you have to wear a uniform, and you're not allowed to wear strange things in your hair. So I think that's not going to work very well. You might be sent home.
But what if not school? What if like you guys are going out and she's like, "Yo, well, maybe I took it too far and said underwear." But like remember the movie Big Daddy and the kid dressed like a dinosaur or not a dinosaur, a kangaroo to school, and
Yes,
that.
those are my children. Those are my children.
So like, do you let them?
I've been letting them dress themselves since they were about 6. I'm not saying that I do not always say something. Like Davino wear like plaids with like stripes, and I'm like, really? Like that's kind of a fashion faux pas. Like I just want to let you know, doesn't really work. And she's like, but this color matches this color, and I'm like, if that's what you want to do, I'm just letting you know it's a fashion faux pas, but that's fine. You can do it if that's what you feel comfortable in.
But so basically you encourage them, but like you try to sometimes you do it in a nice way. If you see like it's too over the top, right? You try to basically throw a bone, like give them a nice advice, right? Like, yo, I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You always been a like I can safely say you have always been an individual. And like, you know what I mean, in the best possible way. I think that was one of the biggest things that attracted me to you as a girl and as a friend, as a human being when we first met. So also you think that carried on a little bit to the girls, like as far as
individuality? Oh heavens to Betsy, yeah, I've already seen it. Like Gwen's whole thing is Gwen didn't get picked on by the girls. Gwen got picked on by the boys. And it's like you don't want to say, oh, he's picking on you because he likes you, because then they're going to be like, oh, well, guys that treat me like crap, or oh, they like me. You know what I mean? So it's like a tough thing, but it is that sense that like these little boys did like Gwen. They really did like her. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and it was not the example that they would pick on her. It was the fact that when I would come to pick her up from school, they would say hi to me. Hi, Gwen's mom. How are you doing, Gwen's mom? Can I give you a hug, Gwen's mom? And then they would follow us through the playground as I would walk them to the gate back home. And I'm like, if these little boys don't like you, then I must be crazy, because who the heck stalks you on the playground while you're walking home?
Have you talked to her about the whole boys idea and things like that? Like maybe not the birds and the bees yet, but like, like.
Oh gosh, no, we have not talked about that. Thank the Lord.
Liking boys, and if it's okay, like things like that. Have you talked to her about it? Because she's the eldest, obviously.
Yeah, she'll be 11 on the 25th.
Right. So, have you talked to her about like liking boys and things like what if she comes Or and first of all, do you are you guys close enough for her to be able to come to you and and say openly, "Mom, I think I like a boy"?
Oh, she's already done that, and she already had a boyfriend for like 2 weeks.
Oh, oh, tell me about that, yo. Like, did you freak out?
No, because it's like their definition of boyfriend is so hysterically funny and so like not even real that it just makes me laugh. And then because she says, "Oh, I was going out with so and so, blah 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 blah, and he likes me," and then she's like, "Oh, he was mean to my friend Courtney. I broke up with him because he punched her in the arm."
Oh.
And I was like, "Really now?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm done with that." So then it was so funny because then the whole year she was just like doing her own thing and she was like, whatever. And all her little girlfriends were like getting boyfriends and all this stuff like that. And she's like, whatever, whatever. I don't need a boyfriend because she's like my tomboy. She's totally a tomboy. Like, she would not put on the skirt for the life of her. She was like, it was like, "I want a pair of pants, Mom, this morning. I want a pair of pants. I want a pair of uniform pants. I don't want this. I want a pair of uniform shorts. I don't want to wear a skirt. Why do I have to wear a skirt? This is stupid." I'm like, okay, fine. I had to make sure like pants were washed every single day. And so finally she got close to the end of the year and she started getting this huge crush on, oh my goodness gracious. I just had the name on the tip of my tongue and I just missed it. Oh, Miss Canada's son. And Miss Canada
You're
is
gonna
like one of the teachers there, but her son was in 5th grade with Gwen, and she
you're
got
gonna put it out like
big.
that?
No, they already know. Everybody knows because it was so funny because we went into the meeting where we learned about Gwen's learning disability, the disjointed learning stuff that she has going on with
Mhm.
her, and Miss Canada's like, she's so cute. She talks about her bunny. She brings in her stuffed bunny, and she lets Aiden play with it. He gets all excited, and I was like, "Oh, did you know that like Gwen has a crush on him?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I totally know."
Oh, that's so cute. The
Yeah.
like learning disability. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, is it what is it, and like how challenging has that been, and has it been challenging at all? Because she, to me, she seemed like such an awesome me. I mean, obviously it's a learning disability, so maybe it's not something I would notice, but um, has
Well,
that been a challenge?
the craziest thing is we knew that there was something wrong for years. And last year they tried to test her for ADD and ADHD, and I knew that's not what she had. And this year, Anastasia, we were having struggles with Anastasia because in 1st grade, Anastasia she wasn't able to even read a chapter book before she got into 2nd grade. And Miss Moore, who was actually Davina's teacher in 4th grade, or I'm sorry, 3rd grade, because she was 3rd grade, and then she moved down to 2nd grade, and she knew that Anastasia was having this disjointed disability learning problem. So
Hmm.
she of getting Anastasia tested in the beginning of the year. Like she pushed it.
Hmm.
She was like right on top of it, making sure it was situated and she had this worked out. And we found out that Anna has disjointed. She oh goodness, I can't remember the exact diagnosis, but like certain sounds, like letter sounds, she
Hmm.
doesn't understand them and
Hmm.
how they fit together. She doesn't understand certain words; they don't connect to her. It's more like a reading comprehension type thing. It's not really so much, but by the time Anastasia finished 2nd grade, thanks to Miss Moore and the testing and the availability of what they can do to help her, and us working and doing extracurricular things, Anastasia can now read a full Junie B. Jones book, which is one of those thin chapter books, which is an accomplishment from going from a Reader One book, the little kids' books, like
Hmm.
Reader One,
Hmm.
to a full on chapter book, and she has this renewed sense of and like oh my god, I can read, and like we'll just like we had bought her this Batman book that because she's obsessed with Batman because she loves Batgirl, like that's her thing. She's Batgirl. So she got this Batman book, and it was like this big chapter book that had like 7 chapters in it. She would sit in the car every time she'd get in the car, and she'd pick that book up and she'd read it, and she read all the chapters within 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was so proud of herself, and she's like, "Look what I did! Look what I did!"
She should be proud of herself, man. Is it a known condition, like, or is it a I don't like what do you even call it? Is it a condition? Like, what is it like? You know, do doctors know about these things?
They don't label them anymore. They don't give them names.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's not this. Well, it's funny because I have the book because I had started taking courses for teaching, and one of the classes I had was disabilities in learning and what happens with the kids and the disjointed like stuff like that. And so I knew everything that was coming up with Anastasia. Well, Gwen has that first part, the first comprehension piece, and the first reading thing that Anastasia has. But like there was funny things that like okay, so they were doing because Gwen's older, so everybody since Gwen has been in first grade has missed this. So thankfully, Miss Moore had also noticed it in Gwen. So she pushed it through and was like, yeah, you really need to test Gwen. This is like, you really need to look at Gwen too. But when they started testing Gwen, they had given her what they call pattern words. They'd give you 2 words and they'd ask you how they form together. And the woman that was doing the test says Gwen took 2 separate words that she had not even said, and she said this word and this word, and the woman says to her, well, how do these words go together? And Gwen goes, they're sugaring. And she goes, what? And she goes, they're sugaring. They're melding together. Now, sugaring isn't a word.
Right.
And we started laughing about it when we were in the meeting because we said, okay, well, maybe this kid's going to make up these words and she's going to have, like, her own new language and have all these new words that we're going to be taking on and everything like that. Sugaring. But that, it seems that nowadays making up your own words is actually part of a learning disability, which I don't consider it a learning disability because I've always made up my own words for years.
Right. I can back that up.
Like, you heard me.
Yes, I can back that up.
Shit, you know?
I think that's cool. I think it's awesome, man. I love that.
Yeah. And so she did that. So then they decided to put her on a secondary test. And this was it's not comprehension, but it's like more than that. So when they started doing the testing and they started breaking everything down, it seems that when Gwen, you speak to her, when you're talking to her, and you say something, and like let's say I talk the normal way I do, and I'll be like, okay, well this diffused into this other piece of work. And if I say the word diffused and Gwen doesn't understand it, it'll go in one ear and out the other, and she won't understand what you're saying, and she'll just kind of blow it off, and she won't hear anything you've heard because the word triggered her to be frustrated and not understand. So she doesn't admit to, I don't understand what you're asking me, or I don't understand what you said. She'll just get frustrated and be like, whatever, and like throw her hands up and walk away. She has comprehension issues where she's not processing what you're saying to her. Yeah.
So what were some of the challenges, and how did you help her out? Like, did you guys have to constantly help her out, or did she like do it on her own?
We just found this out like 3 weeks before she finished school.
This year.
Yeah. So this summer, like, I've had to take a step back from the way that I talk to her and how I deal with her, and remember that she's not always catching what I'm saying or how I'm saying it. And she isn't on point They say, I don't understand. I don't get what's going on.
Have the teachers been understanding as far as school? Because school can be tough, man. Some teachers can be real assholes, man. Have the teachers been?
I've locked out. My girls have had like the top most amazing teachers. Like I have never had an issue with any one of the kids' teachers. I mean, once in a while I got annoyed with like two of their teachers, and I'm kind of a little snippy, and I was like, "What the heck," you know? But never teacher issue. I will say I never really cared for their principal. Now that she's no longer at the school, I will say I never cared for her. And that was in the first one. Remember I told you about the whole issue with the schoolyard and her locking the gates and everything like that? Yeah. That was just horse crapola. And I that's just a whole nother story. But yeah, teachers, I give all of them a lot of credit, because the crazy thing is like I said, Miss Moore had Davina for 4th grade and then took on Anastasia for 2nd grade. Miss Johnson had Anastasia for 2nd grade or 1st grade. And then Miss Johnson moved to 5th grade and had Guinevere for 5th grade.
Nice.
So 2 teachers had literally taken on 2 different kids in my family. And then Miss Spur, like that's their kindergarten teacher, had Gwen and Debbie. She didn't have Anastasia or Zoe, but like it was like, honestly, there's not a single teacher that I've encountered so far that I've had any issues with.
Nice.
Like, and they all make jokes about it because they all call me. They're like, "Oh, you're crazy art mom," because they don't know what I'll walk in there and they'll be like, "What color's your hair today, Alicia?"
That's awesome, man. That's really good. The girls must be so proud of you, man. I mean, you're literally like the coolest freaking mom in the world right now, man. Like I was shit. Like all the kids are probably so freaking jealous, man. Like I want a mommy like yours, man.
Well, it is amusing when I go on the school trips because all the kids like hover.
Crowd around you.
How do I have 30 kids? I heard you're supposed to be with some of the other moms. Like, and then I'm the crazy mom, like especially when we go to like the parks and stuff like that, or the water stuff and like the beach stuff. I'm the one that's like always jumping in the water. Like you'll see a couple of the dads do it, but it's like I'm always the mom that's like running out there in the water and like
cool mom, man.
Kids and like running on the slides and playground and running after them, or like half the other parents are like over sitting on the benches, and I'm like, no, I gotta be with the kids. Oh, push you on the swings. Let's go.
That's so awesome, man. Listen, Alicia, do you have time? Do you have like a few minutes?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Can you give me 1 second, man? I gotta take the biggest pee right now. I'll be back in like 10 seconds, man.
Okay.
1 second. Hold on. I'm so sorry, man. I can't hold it anymore.
No, it's fine. You're good.
1 second. Okay, hey, I'm back.
All right, hold on 1 second.
Sorry, man. I suck. I know. I couldn't hold it anymore. I'm like, holy shit, man. I've been drinking. I've been drinking too much coffee today, man.
Oh yeah, that'll do it too.
You would think I'm drinking beer or something, man. I don't drink beer. I actually want to jump into something serious with you, but staying on the subject of kids, since in the Olympic, in the mom, if there was a mom's Olympics, you definitely would be like the Michael Phelps of all moms, man. You got like 15 gold medals, man, or 20, however you got. So you're definitely the coolest mom, man. You got that title, man.
Thank you.
And like after I talked to you and the first time, and then I talked to my mom, and I was telling her like, yo, the girls, just like when you look at the pictures, man, like the girls are so happy with you, man, and so happy to be around you. Like they're just all vibrating, man. It's so nice. It's really nice, man.
Oh yeah, I love them to death. They are very full of high energy. That's the dang truth. Trust me. Anytime I'm tired, if I have to go around them, I'm like, well, I ain't tired no more.
I want to jump into something serious, man. Because we are here. The point I get on this podcast, and the point for me making these videos, man, is to reach people. Hopefully, like I think it's very important. I think that we as adults now, man, I hate freaking thinking of it like that, but we as adults gotta claim responsibility for the next generation, man. We can't keep freaking leaving the next generation with worse and worse and worse world, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like I think we could definitely, and not, me myself, I don't have kids of my own, but I feel like still people that, don't have kids should also, think of everyone else as kind of their kids, and kind of, try to have some kind of good input. Man, how do you keep getting sexier by the minute? What is that outfit? Who are you wearing?
Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy. Holy shit. Jesus, where'd you get that? Is so freaking sexy, man. That's really sexy.
Hot topic.
Shit. Well, now you got me.
I figured if I was gonna wear the wig, I might as well wear the costume because it's just fun.
You got me stuck for a second, but all right. Definitely gonna get some more views now. Do you still, before we get to the serious topic, do you still like fairies, man? I remember you used to like fairies.
Oh heck yeah.
Yo, fairies are the shit, aren't they? The shit, like.
Yeah.
I still, like, after you, I honestly will say I'm a grown ass man, and I have no shame of saying I believe in fairies, man. I believe they exist.
Yeah, but me and my mom figured out something completely different. That there's fairies and then there's pixies. And the difference between a fairy and a pixie is a fairy is always tiny, whereas a pixie can grow to human size, and they can stay that way for a period of time, and then they can grow back down, but they're mischievous. So my mom has now deemed me a pixie.
Are you telling me that Tinkerbell was a pixie and not a?
Yep.
What?
Yeah, that's why my mom's like, you're Tinkerbell. Yeah, my mom was Tinkerbell.
Oh my god, you just blown my mind, man. I will never look at Tinkerbell the same way again, man.
Yes, my mom calls me Tinkerbell all the time.
So Tinkerbell is I thought she was good.
No, she's a mischievous pixie. That's why she gets mad at Wendy, because Wendy's stealing Peter Pan away.
Holy schmoly, man. Shit, I will not be able to fall asleep tonight, man. I'm gonna be thinking about that. I'm like, how the hell is Tinkerbell a pixie, man? And what about men? Yo, did you ever see that video on YouTube of like a dude actually catching a video of a fairy man somewhere in like Ireland or some shit?
No, but I believe it.
Yo, you gotta look it up. It's like literally a fairy, man. He captures it on his cell phone, man. It's trippy.
Nice.
All All right, man. We're gonna get into a serious topic. Have you seen? Well, I really hope you haven't, but still, have you seen? I think it was last year. A girl posted a live feed. She was like live on livemeet.com or something with her hanging herself.
That was actually, I never saw it, but I've heard about it, and it was actually Facebook Live, and they can't take it down
Facebook Live.
because you have to be able to log into the person's Facebook to withdraw it. And that's not the first suicide. That is actually the fourth one that has been recorded on Facebook Live.
Holy shit! But this was the one that I don't know. Somebody posted it on Facebook and
She hung herself. Another girl hung herself. I think one of them, I believe, if I'm correct, one of them shot themselves.
holy shit, man. I'm glad I didn't see the one that shot themselves. But so I actually went and seen this. So this girl was like 12 years old, and the whole bit there was actually people watching that shit live, and there was even
They thought it was a prank.
But there were even kids even encouraging her, man, like, yo, do that shit. Like, you know what I mean? And all right, even if someone thinks that it's a prank, like, how the F are you gonna take the risk of encouraging somebody? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So I was gonna ask.
This is the sick bullying shit.
Yeah. So that's what I want to get into, like, because me being raised in Ukraine, you don't hear, well, at least back in the day, you didn't hear a lot about these things because I think our reality was just like like a lot different, and I always say that you can't really measure someone's pain or what they're going through unless you're in that person's shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you notice that, especially in the years, in the whole age of social media, we've been seeing a lot more freaking suicides and things like that. Can you get into that and tell me why do you think it's happening? Like, and and maybe what we can do about it.
Well, number one, we're all plugged into our phones too much. I just posted a meme yesterday that said from George Orwell's 1984, they will not revolt because they will all be too busy stuck on their technology or their screens.
Oh,
Every
shit.
time you go out anywhere in public, what is everybody on? Phone.
You know what kills me is if you even see like two people on a date and shit, and like they're both sitting there looking at their freaking phone screens, man.
Yeah, like my whole thing is like my phone goes away. If I need to show you something, like I'll Google it or I'll pull a picture up and then I'll be like, okay, here, and then I put it away. Like, you know what I mean? It's only like a secondary tool for me to show you or explain something to you, but it's not like I mean, sometimes when I go and like smoke a cigarette with my mom, I'll be like, you know, and I want to show her funny things, and we're talking and we're still engaging. She never really gets mad at me because I'm never disassociated from the situation. I'm kind of like multitasking, so my brain's split. So I'm like still conversating with her, and I still follow the lines, and I still know what's going on, and I can still talk to her about it. But then sometimes I'll be like, okay, this is really funny. You have to see this, mom, and like I lighten up the mood, you know?
But back to the kid, like, all right, so basically, because I know a lot of adults out there are like, sitting back, when these things happen, these suicides amongst these young kids, and they're, adults are sitting back and they're like, why the F would a 12-year-old commit suicide, and then they get mad, like, oh shit, it's not that bad, and this and that. Like, can you go into the whole, because let's only talk about girls and girls committing suicide and ages like 12 years old, and like, what do you think is happening? Why do you think they're doing it, like, and what we can do about it as
Well, like I was saying, a lot of it has to do with the disassociation. Like Gwen recently, she's having hormonal stuff, okay? Because She's going to be 11, and this is early for me because I didn't start like, yeah, I had a little bit of hormonal stuff, but I didn't really start into that whole thing until I was older. Especially,
Right.
especially the hormones in chickens, and most people, I particularly, if I like, will have chicken once a week. That is the maximum we have chicken. Okay? And the chicken that I buy is always GMO, no hormones, and no steroids. If I don't get chicken like that, I don't buy chicken because
Where do you get chicken like that though?
Tyson chicken is the only chicken that literally says no GMOs, no steroids, and no hormones.
And you think it's true? You can safely trust the.
No, but then there's Hartfield. There's a company called Hartfield that BJ sells that says the same thing, and they said they're all organic and their animals are grass fed. The butter I don't buy regular butter. I buy only RHBT free grass fed cows with no hormones and no steroids. It's the only butter I buy for this house. Now beef's a little harder, you know what I mean? But honestly, we only have ground meat once a week and chicken once a week, and other than that, we make a lot of completely vegetarian meals. A lot. Like my soup tonight was a completely vegetarian meal, except for the fact that I had leftover chicken from like 3 nights ago that were in wraps. So I was like, well, I can use the chicken, and then whatever soup's left over, I can freeze, and then we can use them as a meal for another time. Especially if the kids get sick, then it's chicken and vegetable soup. It had sauteed bok choy, zucchini, squash. I put celery in there, turmeric powder, chicken broth, and Italian seasoning, and one more thing, roasted red peppers.
So you were trying to make a point. So a lot of it has to do with hormonal development too early.
Oh yeah, because a lot of the food that are going into these children's diets are making them develop quickly. Like one of Guinevere's little friends already got her period, and she's only 11.
Oh my God. So okay, but so how does that itself tie into? Does that tie into a kid, maybe being too emotional or?
Yes, because when you're speaking on the terms of girls, you have to understand men have testosterone and women have estrogen. Okay, if a woman's estrogen levels aren't correct, it causes hormonal imbalances, it causes sleeping imbalances, it causes emotional issues.
Like depression.
That's why women don't understand it. There are plenty of women I have spoken to, which I'm not saying everybody's like this, but I'm just saying there are plenty of women I've spoken to that I said to them, they're like, oh, I'm on birth control. And I'm like, and how does it work for you? And they're like, well, this symptom, that symptom, this symptom. I said, you do realize that you're tricking your body into thinking it's pregnant, right? They're like, what? Like they said to me, what? I'm like, that's what birth control is. Your body is saying, you are pregnant, you can't get pregnant.
Holy shit.
So your body is acting pregnant the entire. Like, honestly, think about this. Can you imagine your kid's like 11 years old, she gets her period, and you say, let's go put her on birth control?
Fuck.
I feel like she's pregnant. Now, you don't know that these kids aren't or are on them. We have been treating, in today's society, we're not treating as kids. We're treating them more as adults. We're treating them more as, they should know better. They don't have to learn as much. Like, kids have this thing where it's like every day they're like, I have to watch a YouTube video. And I was like, can it be something educational? Can it be something that's like going to enlighten your brain? And like, they've gotten better about it, but it's still like, It's like this mind numbingness. And then it's like they play on these games. Like, don't even get me started about this game called Roblox. And too
What is
many
that?
parents are letting these kids play this game. This game is totally inappropriate
What is it?
for any child under the age of 15. Inappropriate. It looks like Minecraft, but the language and the words and some of the context just inappropriate, and they don't have the correct like things in place. Okay, for example, they now have YouTube Kids. Okay, I pined for YouTube Kid for 4 years because my daughter Gwen and Debbie, they had gone to their father's house and he had a new baby with his new wife. Well, I still haven't got the whole story. He claims they were out in the hallway, but when they came back home, they went and started researching people giving birth on YouTube. There was no parental settings that could block that. It was right there. People's births.
So what is it, an online game, or is this like
No, I was talking about YouTube on that one, the births. But Roblox, yes, is an online game.
oh my God. That sounds scary, man.
Yeah.
Can you hear?
And so, like, with Guinevere, for example, she's going through a little bit of hormonal changes. She got upset with me, and the first thing she popped off with is I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, I do nothing right, I should just go kill myself.
Oh my God.
She said that to me. And I lost it and said, how could you ever say something like that?
But she obviously doesn't say it with seriousness. I mean, as to understanding what she's saying, but still, right? A child saying something like that is just it's really, really bugging, man.
Yeah, it really, I really lost it when she said that, and I said, don't ever say anything like that. You know, don't talk like that.
What did you explain to her, though, why she shouldn't say that?
I went into a very long situation, and I said, you know, there's no reason to think like that. You need to think positively. And I became a little lost. So I went out searching, and American Girl came out with a book, and it's called The Feelings Book, and it literally has exercises and things that they're supposed to do to cope with different emotions in different ways to try and help them understand what they're feeling and going through.
Have you found?
Now, some of it's work, but some of it's a work in progress.
Have you found it helpful?
Yeah, like I said, some of it's helped, some of it's still a work in progress. There's a lot of the yelling at me and then the coming back and I'm sorry a lot. But she hugs me, and then the hugging kind of dissipates it. She feels better. Sometimes it's a lot about me getting her attention, you know, because like I said, she's not comprehending everything, so I have to bring her back into focus and get her attention to really pull herself into where she needs to be, especially with her emotions and everything. But I think that's what a lot of it is. And then I think, you know, a lot of parents, I'm not saying they aren't. I'm not saying that kids that do this, they're not. But I think a lot of parents aren't as in tune to the things that are going on with the kids, you know, as much as sometimes we should be. I think especially as Americans, we become so consumed with work, money, you know, housework, you know, finances. All of that becomes this big thing. And we forget, like, there's these little people that are like, hey, I just want to play with you, or I just want you to push me on a swing, or just want you to sit down and watch a movie with me.
Some kind of attention.
I don't care that there's like 500 dishes in the sink. I just want to watch a movie with you.
How important do you think it is to like to hug a child and to kiss them, and you know the physical aspect of loving a child.
Oh, that's a hard subject for me because um, I'm not I'm not really capable of it as much as I used to be. I'm very turned off to it.
But
Like,
I've seen you last time, and the kids come up and you say I love you and give me a hug and give me a kiss, and you know there's still some.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's funny because maybe they sucked it out of me. Maybe like them wearing my heart, you know what I mean? Like my heart walking around outside of my body. Maybe that's why they are the way they are. But they're always the one that are like, I love you, mommy. I love you, mommy. I love you, mommy. Let me give you a hug. Let me give you a kiss. And they do it at least, each one of them at least 5 times a day. Now Gwen hasn't been doing it as much as she used to. So I think maybe that's partially what's going on with her.
Mhm.
But I'm more of the like in the morning I see them, good morning, sweetheart, how are you doing? Give them a hug and kiss. Right before they go to bed, give them a hug and a kiss. You know what I mean? But they manage to fill in a lot of that space in between breakfast and dinner, you know, or bedtime.
I heard, I read somewhere a long time ago that it's actually very important, not only for a child, but for a human being to be psychologically in a good place. You know, the whole shit, man. I always can't find a proper word. But the whole affection, the whole physical affection towards a human being is very important. You know, like me and you were very similar in that aspect, as you know we like the whole cuddling, and even with with your partner, or with your boyfriend or husband or whatever, like we like to be affectionate, and little kisses here and there and cuddling. And I actually read that it's very important, and especially in the upbringing of a child, that the human touch is very important. It
Yeah, it's
sends.
healing.
What is it?
It's healing.
Talk about that.
It's healing because the transfer of energy and
Mm,
between two human beings. So if like I think that's why like in certain ways mine's like withdrawn so much because I've gone through some bad relationships
mhm,
where it was just like I didn't want to absorb that negativity and that like we know we've talked about this a million times. Remember the whole thing about empathy and I
mhm,
can feel other people's energy and their
mhm.
emotions and feelings and
Yes.
everything like that. So I've gotten to a point where it's like I I don't always want to touch people. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to draw that in. I don't want to feel that. I don't want
Mm,
like I can already feel it like here. I don't want to feel it here, you know? So, I mean, and the kids don't have that because they're pure, pretty much pure. But at
mhm,
the same time, like when they're diffusing, it's like they need my positive vibes and my touch to kind of bring them back to where they need to be, you know? And like
mhm,
they get weirded out by me sometimes because like sometimes when I get at my maddest, I squeeze hug them. And then
mhm,
they look at me like I'm crazy, but it's like I'm squeeze hugging them because I'm just like I don't want to be mad, but I also want
mhm.
them to understand like I'm upset, but I also want to take diffuse them. And then
Right.
and then by the time I put them down, because it's like a good 3 minute like holding hug,
Mhm.
and then they'll look at me and they'll be like, they don't really have anything to say, and they'll just be like, okay, and they like walk away.
So it helps.
Yeah, it diffuses it.
Mm. So back to the whole suicide thing. So the first triggers you're saying is obviously food, because that saying that we are what we eat. That's a very true saying. So what are some of the other things that you think is going on that would push a freaking 12-year-old child that can't really see a future in front of them to go to such an extreme, because one thing that people don't understand about suicide, and anyone out there that has ever actually attempted it, I'm not talking about just thought about it, because most of us think about it, but actually have attempted suicide will understand that it is such a bad and low place to be at. And a lot of people say, oh, cowards did it, but you don't understand, first of all, how hard, to come to the realization that, yo, I'm like freaking taking my life right now, and it's such a bad and low psychological place to be at.
You do
Talk
realize,
about that a
yeah.
little bit.
Well, I can talk about it on a personal level. I almost killed myself. Well, I was a risk cutter for years, and I almost killed myself twice.
Yeah, so such a bad place. But like I said, so what do you
You have to get yourself to a mentality that you believe that there's no one, that there's nothing left, and you have to say, well, this is it. Like, there's never going to be anything more. I'm never going to go anywhere, and nobody cares about me. And like I said, with the whole socialization and social media and everything like that, just because like you have 500 friends on Facebook, you can have 500 friends on Facebook. And the funniest thing is like for example, for today, okay? I went on Facebook and I was on it was just a kind of a test product, just because I was seeing what was going on. So I left my messenger up all day. See who would message me. And like, except for like when you messaged me, I saw multiple friends come in, come on, come in, come, like, you know what I mean? Going in, like, on and off. But if I didn't engage into the act of actually saying hello or anything like that, nobody said nothing.
Something just happened.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh my God, I cut off. Wait.
Now I can't hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. I did.
Jesus, no,
There you go.
please. No. This was so. Okay, wait. My headphones are not coming back on. Can't believe I just let my headphones die. Oh no. Wait, can I do this without headphones?
What? You're still not getting it to work, huh? No, I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you.